Throughout history, unseen forces have shaped humanity's path, none more powerful than pandemics. From ancient times to our digital age, microscopic organisms have toppled empires and redrawn societies. These contagions are not just medical events, but turning points that have altered the course of civilizations. The story of disease is inseparable from the story of humanity. In the aftermath of loss, new worlds and ideas have often emerged. Join me as we uncover how pandemics have rewritten history and transformed our world. Our journey begins in ancient Athens, where dense cities became breeding grounds for disease. In 430 BC, a devastating plague struck Athens during the Peloponnesian War, shattering its society and morale. The city's democratic ideals crumbled, and Athens never fully recovered, marking the end of its golden age. Centuries later, the Roman Empire faced the Antonine Plague, likely smallpox or measles, which killed millions and weakened Rome's military and economy. The empire's faith in its gods faltered, and new religions like Christianity gained ground. These plagues didn't single-handedly destroy Athens or Rome, but they exposed the fragility of even the mightiest societies. Epidemics have often been catalysts for profound political and social change. They remind us that history can be altered not just by armies, but by invisible pathogens. The plagues of Athens and Rome left legacies of ruin and transformation. Even the most sophisticated civilizations are vulnerable to the relentless march of disease. The silent power of pandemics has shaped the fate of empires. Fast forward to the 14th century, Europe, bound by feudalism and tradition, faced the Black Death. Arriving in 1347, the bubonic plague wiped out up to half of Europe's population in just 5 years. Cities became graveyards, and the social order collapsed. The labor shortage empowered peasants, accelerating the decline of feudalism and the rise of urban economies. The Church's inability to explain or stop the plague led to a crisis of faith and the questioning of old dogmas. Waves of religious fervor and persecution followed, but so did new ways of thinking. The Black Death was a brutal reset, dismantling medieval structures and paving the way for the Renaissance. It marked the end of the old world and the birth of a new, more dynamic society. From tragedy emerged social mobility, capitalism, and a spirit of inquiry. The plague was both a catastrophe and a crucible for change. It forced Europe to reinvent itself. The modern world was forged in the ashes of the Black Death. As Europe recovered and explored new worlds, it carried invisible cargo, deadly pathogens. The arrival of Europeans in the Americas unleashed smallpox, measles, and influenza on populations with no immunity. Up to 90% of indigenous peoples perished, devastating entire civilizations before they even saw a conquistador. The Aztec and Inca empires were undone more by disease than by Spanish swords. This great dying erased languages, cultures, and knowledge forever. The depopulation of the Americas fueled the transatlantic slave trade, reshaping societies across 4 continents. Pandemics became tools of empire and agents of destruction. The biological conquest of the Americas changed global history. The scars of this tragedy still echo today. Disease, not just conquest, defined the fate of the New World. By the 19th century, humanity's fight against disease changed with science. The germ theory, pioneered by Pasteur and Koch, revealed that bacteria, not miasmas, caused epidemics. This breakthrough led to sanitation revolutions and the rise of public health. Vaccination, first with smallpox, then expanded, gave us new defenses. The 20th century brought antibiotics and vaccines for polio and measles, fueling optimism that we could conquer infectious disease. Yet modernity also created new risks. Global travel and urbanization sped up the spread of new pathogens. the battle shifted from passive endurance to active combat. Science gave us hope, but the enemy kept evolving. The war against pandemics was far from over. Each advance brought new challenges. In 1918, as World War I raged, a deadlier enemy emerged: the Spanish flu. This H1N1 influenza struck healthy adults hardest, spreading rapidly via troop movements. In just 18 months, it infected a third of the world and killed up to 100 million people, more than the war itself. Public life halted, and the medical community was humbled by its inability to stop the virus. Yet, the pandemic quickly faded from memory, overshadowed by the war's trauma. The flu was a private grief, not commemorated like the war. This collective amnesia meant vital lessons about preparedness were forgotten. The world moved on, leaving itself vulnerable to future pandemics. The Spanish flu remains a cautionary tale about memory and readiness. Forgetting its lessons came at a cost. History warns us not to repeat that mistake. A century later, COVID-19 used our global networks to bring the world to a halt. Unlike 1918, this pandemic unfolded in real time, with the world watching every development. Lockdowns, closed borders, and economic shocks exposed deep inequalities. The crisis became a battleground for debates on liberty, science, and misinformation. Yet, humanity responded with unprecedented speed, developing vaccines in under a year. The pandemic accelerated digital transformation and forced us to rethink priorities. COVID-19 was more than a health crisis. It was a global stress test. It reminded us of our vulnerability and interconnectedness. The lessons are clear. We must prepare for future uncertainties. Our response will shape the world to come. Looking back, pandemics have taught us hard lessons about urbanization, public health, and global cooperation. Too often, these lessons are forgotten as crises fade. Our world is more connected, and the risk of new pandemics is rising. Deforestation and climate change increase the chance of new diseases jumping from animals to humans. The next pandemic is a matter of when, not if. We need resilient health systems, scientific literacy, and global surveillance. Preparedness requires sustained investment and political will. Learning from history is our best defense. To honor those lost, we must break the cycle of panic and neglect. The future depends on what we do now. Across millennia, pandemics have forced humanity to adapt, innovate, and confront its vulnerabilities. They reveal our resilience and our divisions, shaping the world we share. The story of pandemics is a mirror, reflecting our choices and our capacity for change. What lessons will we carry forward? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this journey compelling, like and subscribe for more explorations into the forces that shape humanity.